Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we will discuss restricted stock award, and specifically we will discuss the taxation of restricted stock award. Now this topic falls under equity compensation. What do we mean by equity compensation? When you work for a company, 99% of the time they give you money in form of compensation, of course. But can they give you something else? Of course they can. They can give you benefit in terms of health insurance. They can pay for your health insurance. They can contribute money to your 401k, but they could also give you company stocks, stock award as form of compensation. Now specifically, we need to discuss restricted stock award. Restricted means what? It means they give it to you, but you cannot control it immediately. Maybe you have to work for a period of time before you can sell it, transfer it, do whatever you want to do with it. And this is common in many companies where you are awarded either stock options. We talked about stock options in a separate recording. In this session, we'll focus on restricted stock award. The main difference between stock options and restricted stock award: in the restricted stock award, you would always get the stocks, the actual stocks, as long as you meet whatever restriction they put on you. Usually the restriction is you have to work for a company a period of time. My wife works for Johnson & Johnson. They do grant them both stock options as well as restricted stock award. And oftentimes they ask you to choose. Do you want to have 100% stock options, 50% stock options, 50% restricted stock award? But this is what we are discussing here. So it's a form of compensation specifically called equity compensation. Now this is different than the employee stock purchase plan. Employee stock purchase plan, you have to pay. You have to have money deducted from your paycheck. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, simply put, they're granting you actual shares subject to vesting condition. And oftentimes, this vesting condition is you have to stay for a period of time. And why do they do that? What's the purpose of the restricted stock award or the stock options? Is to motivate you to stay with the company. It's not only that. They tie your compensation to the company's performance. So if they are granting you stock options or restricted stocks, well, your financial health is tied to the company. So if the stock price goes up, you are better off. So this is the idea behind it. It's a form of motivation. So you are part of the company. Now, although the employee receives the shares on the grant date, the grant date is when they say, you know what, we're going to give you 500 shares, 400 shares, 200 shares, whatever that number is. The stock is restricted. Typically, it's for a period of time, or sometimes they might put, it's not as often, is performance condition. It means if the company reaches a certain net income or earnings per share. But most of the time, it's a service period. You work for the company. So the employee during that time cannot sell or transfer the shares until the restriction lapse. The restriction expire. Now it's your shares, you know the date, and once you have those shares, you can transfer them, sell them, you do whatever you want to do with them. So in this session, we'll dive deeper into restricted stock award. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com. You are here because you are serious about mastering taxation. Whether you are taking a tax course, studying for the CPA exam, or enrolled agent, tax feels overwhelming, not because it's impossible, but because it's dense, detailed, and often taught at a pace that doesn't match the way you learn. The rules can feel disconnected, and the logic isn't always explained clearly. At Farhat Lectures, we slow it down. We explain the why behind the rules, break concept into simple steps, and rebuild your understanding from the ground up without assuming any prior knowledge. When explanation matches your learning, everything changes. The confusion fades, the rules start to connect, and tax becomes manageable. If you are ready to understand tax with clarity and confidence, start your free trial at farhatlectures.com and let's build your tax foundation together. Starting with the key characteristic, employee receive actual shares. Here we're not talking about options. We discuss options where you have the option to receive the stock, to buy the stock at a certain price. But options are only valuable if the stock exceeds a certain exercise price. Restricted stock shares, you are guaranteed the shares regardless. Now I'll tell you in the real world, for example, a company like J&J, they will make you choose between 100 options and they will have a ratio or 200 restricted, they call them restricted unit or restricted stock unit. So simply put, they will grant you less restricted unit because you are guaranteed to get those units. You don't have to pay for anything. And stock options, remember, for the stock options to be valuable, the stock will have to exceed a certain price and you still have to pay a portion of the stock price. It will be lower than the market value, but nevertheless you have to come up with some money to buy the stock. However, shares are subject to substantial risk of forfeiture. It means if you leave, it's all gone. That's it. So what happened is this. The income for tax purposes is recognized at the vesting, not the grant date. What do I mean by that? Let's assume today is February 24th. Let's assume the company granted 1,000 restricted stock to an employee. If this is the grant date, this is the grant date. The employee don't have any tax consequences. All what they did is they promised the employee the 1,000 shares. And they would say, here's what's going to happen. Those 1,000 shares, they can vest them gradually in pieces, or they can vest them all at once. So to make it easy, I'm going to vest them all at once. What they would say is, after 3 years, so February 24th, 3 years from now, those shares are yours. That's it. You can, as long as you stay with the company, obviously. And this is called the vesting. So when do you recognize the income? You recognize the income at the vesting. Why am I emphasizing this point? So on the grant date, let's assume those are 1,000 shares and the stock price is $30 per share on the grant date. Right now, if you have the 1,000 shares, they are worth $30,000. 1,000 shares times 30. At the vesting dates, 3 years from now, the stock price could be $50. Therefore, on that date, you will take 1,000 shares times the $50. The value that you receive is $50,000. And that is the taxable amount, not when they promise you the shares. It's when the shares vested and they are yours. And once they are vested and they are yours and you pay taxes on them, which you have to pay taxes, the fair market value becomes your basis. So the fair value becomes your basis. So you bought them as if you bought them at 50,000. That's your basis. You did not really buy them. They gave them to you. But since you paid the taxes, your basis equal to the fair market value. Now, eventually, now you have those 1,000 shares and the basis is $50. That's what you have. A year or two later, you sold them at 70. Well, the difference between 50 and 70 is $20, and that is capital gain, whether it's short-term or long-term, depending how long you carried them, So the RSUs, from a company's perspective, they're simple to understand, simple structure, no election allowed, whether you want to elect to, be in tax now or later, no ownership until vesting. So it means you don't owe them until vesting. Stock options, remember stock options, the NSOs and the ISOs provide the right to purchase. It may or may not be valuable at the end of the day. The value depends on the stock price exceeding the exercise price, and there's more complex tax consequences, especially for ISOs. Now, the best way to illustrate is to look at an example to see how the restricted stock award work. March 1st, year 1, Danielle was granted 500 shares of restricted stock by her employer. company stocks. The fair market value at that date is $40 per share. The stock vesting April 15th, year 2. So she's going to have to wait for more than a year, a little bit over a year, for the shares to be vested. The fair market value April 15th, year 2 was $55. Danielle sold her shares on June 30th, year 3 at $70. Now we're going to determine the amount and character of her taxable income year 1, 2, 3 related to this stock award, restricted stock award. Let's start with year 1. What happened in year 1? There was the grant date. What's the taxable income? 0. All what they did in year 1, March 1st, they promised her 500 shares. On that date, the share price was $40. And you'll be giving the share price on that date to confuse you. It's not there. So some people might say, oh, on the grant date, there's a $20,000 in taxable income. There's none. What about if Danielle left the company? Then she got no shares. Therefore, it's not taxable income until the share vest. When do they vest? You guessed it, April 15th, year 2, the vesting date. At vesting, the taxable amount equal to the number of shares times the fair value on that date. So 500 shares times $500 is $27,500. This is the taxable amount. How is that taxed? Guess what? That's taxed as if they paid her in wages. It means what? It means as far as taxation, it's considered ordinary income because it's part of Danielle's compensation. So this amount is treated as wage compensation. Wage compensation. It's subject to income and payroll taxes. It's as if they cut her a check for $27,500 as part of the compensation. Now, going forward, her basis in the stock in those 500 shares is $27,500 because she paid the taxes on that and her basis start there. Now what happened in year 3? In year 3, she sold the shares for $70 and she waited more than a year. So in year 3, the selling price is $70. She received $35,000. The capital gain is the difference between what she received minus the basis, $7,500. So since she held the shares for more than a year, that's long-term capital gain. So the total taxable income in year 3 is $7,500 long-term capital gain. Now, I explained this example step by step. This same example for the CPA exam, it could be giving like a scary simulation, something that looks like this, where you have to fill out, those columns. So what I'm trying to say is once you understand the topic, it doesn't matter. For example, they will show you year 1 and you have to select the event and select income recognized 0 and there is no character. Year 2, they will tell you on the vesting event how much income is recognized. You'll input the number and the character of the income, ordinary income. In year 3, the event is sale. What's the income recognized? $7,500. And from the drop-down menu, you would select long-term capital gain. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. On January 1st, year 1, Olivia was granted 300 shares of the restricted stock by her employer. The stock was subject to a substantial risk of forfeiture. It means if she leaves, she doesn't get anything. The fair market value on the grant date was $25. The stock vested February 1st, year 2, when the fair market value was $40. Olivia sold the stock on March 15th, year 3, for $50. What amount and character of income should Olivia recognize in year 2 and year 3? So only looking at year 2 and year 3. Now this is a multiple choice question. I could give you the same thing and set it up as if it's a simulation and ask you to select the amount and the character of the income, the type of the income. Doesn't matter. You just need to understand what should be given in year 2, what should be given in year 3. So the good thing is they did not ask you for year 1. And if they ask you for year 1, there is nothing in year 1. Year 1, Olivia was only promised the shares in case she stayed with the company. So what will be year 2 tax effect? What would happen in year 2? In year 2, the shares vested. So if the shares vested, she got 300 shares vested on the fair market value $40, $12,000. So in year 2, do we have ordinary income or do we have capital gain of $12,000? So we could eliminate D and B. We know in year 2, hopefully we all can see that there's a compensation, there's an increase in value of $12,000 because that's when she received the share. The question here is this ordinary income or is this capital gain? Because A and C, ordinary income or capital gain for the same amount. I hope you remember, as far as tax is concerned, basically that's part of her wages, compensation. Therefore, I will go with A. Therefore, immediately the answer is A. But you want to make sure that in year 3, we have 3,000 of either capital gain or long-term capital gain or ordinary income. In year 3, she sold the shares. She sold the 300 shares at $50 and she received 15,000. So this is the proceeds and the basis is the 12 because she already paid taxes on the 300 shares. That's her basis. The difference is 3,000, and since she held them more than a year, it's long-term capital gain. Therefore, the answer is A. Now, on the CPA exam, once you know that it's 12,000 ordinary income or on the enrolled agent, just don't even do the next computation. You know, number 2 is the correct answer because it's 12,000 of ordinary income, not 7,500, not 0. It's 12,000. You select A and you move on because you want to finish this question as soon as possible. Now, if you're working this question on farhatlectures.com, you could ask the AI to explain the topic, ask AI to explain the correct and incorrect answer, and the best thing is you can ask AI to create a similar MCQ for you so you can practice this concept again under different scenario. What should you do now? Invest in yourself. How? Go to Farhat Lectures. Look at additional resources, lectures, AI resources, MCQs, video simulations, exercises. Whether you are a CPA exam candidate, enrolled agent, or an accounting student, the best investment you can make is invest in yourself, and God bless.